Welcome to Biafra Television London. We are coming to you from the platform of the truth of the matter. Nigerian government has failed in their approach to handle the matter of self-determination in Nigeria. I am here with Mr. Kalago. Mr. Kalago is a true Biafran, and he's going to tell the world exactly the activities, the illegal and the undemocratic activities of Nigeria in handling the matter of Biafra agitation. Mr. Kalago, what do you have to tell our audience?
Our audience must understand that Nigeria's view on the issue of Biafra restoration could easily be seen as patently misconceived, and because of such misconception from the Nigerian states, they have tried in so many areas in order to make sure that they stifle the propagation of the restoration of Biafra. So Nigeria's approach towards the restoration of Biafra is completely wrong, because the restoration of Biafra is a right. It is an inalienable right. It is a right which is under the United Nations Charter. It is also a right under Article 20, subsection 1 of African Charter on People and Human Rights, which Nigeria is a signatory to. So for Nigeria to try to stop the restoration of Biafra through violence, incarceration, or killings has failed completely, because it is a very wrong approach. Because the people of Biafra are following the laid down procedures, the rules of international law. So for Nigerian government to apply force, intimidation and incarceration in order to stop the restoration of Biafra is a failure on the Nigerian government, because the approach is very, very wrong. Because there is no how you could use illegality in order to quench a legal program that a people has embarked upon for the restoration of their nation, which was robbed of them by the British. So from my own point of view, Mr. Moderator, the approach which the Nigerian government has applied from the onset is very, very wrong.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Kalag. Thank you very much, Mr. Kalag. Yes, Nigeria is very wrong in their approach to handle the matter of Biafra. The indigenous people of Biafra have continued to maintain the democratic process to restore the sovereign state of Biafra. Therefore, the world can now help the indigenous people of Biafra to see the pain of the people of Biafra, to see how Nigeria has continued to abuse democracy, to abuse their own domestic law, to abuse international law, trying to stop Biafra restoration. But the indigenous people of Biafra maintain this process, the laid down rules under democracy to restore our nation, Biafra. And Mr. Kalago, we still have one other issue. Remember, in the year 2016, the people of Biafra were at the National High School, Aba. They were singing. They were praying to God. Muhammad Buhari sent his security operatives, and our people were killed. Some of them were dumped in a shallow grave after using dry agents on them. So in this regard and other activities, look at Amnesty report. What happened that led to Amnesty report? Look at what happened in other locations in Biafra land, how Nigeria killed Biafrans. What they have to say in this regard?
When you look at the approach of the Nigerian state, you will understand that Nigeria is an occupying force. Nigeria is occupying the land of Biafra without the consent of the people of Biafra. If you could take your mind back to 1970, right after the war, the people of Biafra were given only £20, despite the amount that you may have had prior to the war. So this enslavement has successively been maintained by every Islamic government in power in Nigeria. So don't be surprised, and it is not something surprising to me, on the crackdown by the Nigerian government using their military forces in order to kill the people of Biafra simply for expressing their interest to restore their nation. So, to my own view and my understanding is that this is the way of Nigeria, the way that they use military brutality in order to suppress the people who are going on with a legitimate quest for freedom. So I don't see it as something that is new, because Nigeria has been a moderate state against the people of Biafra. So what we are saying today is because the people of Nigeria, they depend, all their life depends on Biafra. So they don't want the people of Biafra to exercise their inalienable right, which is guaranteed under the law. So the crackdown is basically to show to the people of Biafra that they are the slaves of the Islamic Nigeria. So when you want to when you want to disengage yourself or to extricate yourself from the claws of the Nigerian enslavement, they will always come with their brutal forces in order to suppress you, because all their life depends on Biafra for existence and survival. So that is the reason why you see all these things happening.
So as it is now, Nigeria is wrong in their approach.
Of course, Nigeria is
to handle the matter of Biafra.
Of course.
And Nigeria takes part on the issue of democracy.
Of course, if you could remember in 2015 and in 2016, when the president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, went to the United Nations General Assembly, and he was telling the world to remember and implement the United Nations law for self-determination in order to free the people of Palestine, and also he advocated for the freedom of the people of Western Sahara. So when you look at these things, he will go there to advocate for his fellow Muslims, but when he comes back home, he will order his military to crack down on the innocent Biafra people.
That is hypocrisy.
Yeah, that is their hypocrisy, because these people, they have been killing our people, and they do not want to cease in that direction. They want to continue the enslavement to the greater height. So that is what you see that is happening in Nigeria now. And unfortunately, we have never had anything from ECOWAS. We have never had anything from the United Nations. We have never had anything from the African Union, whereas our people are being killed on a daily basis just simply for expressing their desire to go their separate ways. Besides, our audience should understand that Nigeria expired on the 31st December 2014, and since then till now, Nigeria has been living on a borrowed time. So when the Nigerian government and her murderous establishment and military cracks down on the people of Biafra seeking for self-determination, it is an indictment on Nigeria.
It is an indictment on Nigeria, yes, of course. As I was saying, and as I said it before, Nigeria is very wrong in their approach to address the matter of self-determination in Nigeria. The way Nigeria is handling the matter of self-determination may lead to crisis. We are putting the world on notice that any crisis in Nigeria is as a result of the way Nigeria is handling Biafra issue. The people of Biafra have maintained the democratic process to restore their ancient nation, Biafra. It is not wrong in anywhere around the world to embark on self-determination. We have used human rights, that is protest, to create awareness, to let the world know that we are no longer comfortable with Nigeria. But do you know, at the peak of the protest, in many occasions, Nigerian security forces will go there and shoot the people of Biafra. They will detain the people of Biafra unlawfully. They will torture. They will use dry agents on the people of Biafra because that we say we want Biafra, our ancient nation. So it is important for the world, international organizations, to call on Nigerian government to order, in order not to lead Nigeria to a very big crisis. The people of Biafra, Nigeria have pushed us to the war for a long time, and we maintain the democratic process because we want peace. That is why the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, called on Nigerian government to fix a date for Biafra referendum, for the people of Biafra to vote, to decide their future, whether they will continue to stay in Nigeria or not. Mr. Kalago is here with me, and he made it clear that Nigeria has been using excessive force to address the issue of Biafra, which may lead to crisis. Why not Nigeria? Nigeria is signatory to democracy. Why not Nigeria maintain democracy in Nigeria? Why not Nigerian government to maintain democracy in Nigeria? There are a lot of protests in Nigeria, yet they don't want to hear the people. The world should know once again that since Biafra agitation, Nigeria government has never called the people of Biafra for a dialogue. Nigerian government has never called the people of Biafra for negotiation. What they did is to kill the civilians of Biafra. On 29th and 30th of May 2016, Nigerian government killed over 150 Biafra civilians, which Amnesty International made their investigation, and they have their report. Their report is there for everybody to see. So, Nigeria is leading the issue of Biafra into what we cannot comprehend. So the world should intervene to allow Nigeria, to push Nigeria to conduct, to fix a date for Biafra referendum so that African Union, ECOWAS, and the United Nations will come and supervise it. Mr. Kalawu, do you still have anything to say?
Yes, I have mentioned before that Article 20, subsection 1 of Africa's Charter on Human and People's Rights, which is the same thing Nigeria domesticated in her law under Ratification and Implementation Act Cap 10, 1990 of the Federation of the Laws of the Federation of Nigeria. It expressly provided for self-determination for the indigenous people. So, had it been that Nigeria is a country that recognized her own law, Nigeria wouldn't have cracked down on Biafra civilians. Nigeria should have found it within the ambit of the law to obey and respect the will, the aspiration of the people that inhabit Biafra land. Because what the indigenous people of Biafra is doing is following a laid-down principles, following democratic tenets, following goodwill in order to make sure that the people of Biafra restore their nation without violence, to make sure that the people of Biafra restore their nation without breaking any known law. So as it is today, Nigeria has soiled her hands with blood of innocent Biafrans. So as it is, what the Nigerian government should have done is to look into the agitation and know the right applicable law to apply to them so as for them to agitate for their freedom peacefully through a democratic tenet of referendum.
Now, Mr. Kalago, let me cut you in. You can see that the acting president of Nigeria, Yemi Osinbajo, recently, Professor Yemi said that the Biafra agitation is unlawful and anybody calling for Nigeria's breakup will be jailed. You know the activities of Muhammadu Buhari, how he killed our people because of this agitation as well. What do you have to tell our audience?
Well, what I have to tell our audience is that they should ignore Mr. Osinbajo, because it is quite ironical and unfortunate that a law professor, a senior advocate of Nigeria, someone who used to be a pastor, is misleading the public by assuming or implying that Biafra agitation is illegal and that whoever that is agitating for his freedom should be imprisoned. It is quite derogatory and provocative for a senior advocate. It is for a senior advocate to say such things, because it is out of the line. Because it is Muhammadu Buhari who had assumed that the Biafra agitation is a call for war. Why? Because Muhammadu Buhari has no certificate. Muhammadu Buhari is an illiterate. So I am very, very surprised for someone who is a lawyer to toe the same line with an illiterate Muhammadu Buhari. So what they are doing now, what Osinbajo is doing now, is to commit himself to the failures of Muhammadu Buhari, whereby they will try to stop Biafra and thereby pushing the people of Biafra into violence. So the world, the international community should take note that whatever happens in Nigeria, Yemi Osinbajo should be held responsible.
Not the people of Biafra.
Not the people of Biafra, because the people of Biafra has never committed any crime. The people of Biafra has
continued to resist violence.
Yes, the people of Biafra has never broken any known law. So these people, Muhammadu Buhari and his vice president Yemi Osinbajo, are the people pushing Nigeria to war. These are the people that are pushing for people to get killed because they don't want to follow the legality, the legal prescription that is under their constitution. So this is a very wrong signal which the world must not be silent on this, because Nigeria is already on the precipice.
Now, Mr. Kalago, thank you very much. You know that in 2015, I think that was on 29th of September 2015, when Muhammadu Buhari went to the United Nations 78th Summit in New York. Yes, Muhammadu Buhari protested, advocated for the United Nations to implement the right to self-determination. Yeah. Is it wrong for Nigerian government to follow the same path which they have advocated at the United Nations
for others?
Yes, on the issue of Biafra.
Yes, it is not difficult, but they will never do it because Nigeria do not want Biafra to exist. Nigeria is exploiting the resources from Biafra land. Nigeria is subjugating the people of Biafra. Nigeria, through her draconian policies, has sent a lot of Biafran youth to exile. Because of the draconian policies of successive Islamic governments, so many of Biafran girls are outside Biafra land. So what I am saying in effect is this: Nigeria could have advocated for the freedom of Biafra at the United Nations, but they will never do it because they are gaining from the people of Biafra. So that is the point I'm trying to put forward to our audience. It is very, very easy for Nigeria to since the people of Biafra are asking for a simple referendum.
Now, what do you tell the international stakeholders?
What they should do is they should never turn their blind eyes on the suffering and the plights of the indigenous people of Biafra. The international community, they should not wait until there is a war, a second Biafra war, before they will bring relief materials. So what they should do is to do it faster and urge the United Nations to implement their law, which is the right of indigenous people for self-determination. So that is the advice I give to the international community. Because there is no how they will keep quiet when our people are being killed, then they will start coming with food. That is not acceptable.
Thank you very much. Yes, Nigeria have been using excessive force. Nigeria have been using undemocratic approach, trying to scuttle the Biafra restoration project. The people of Biafra have continued to resist Nigeria's approach, which is illegal, which is unlawful. Nigeria's approach is undemocratic, so we have continued to resist it. The only thing we want is a referendum. We have called on Nigerian government to fix a date for Biafra referendum. So as it is now, if Nigeria fails to fix a date for Biafra referendum, we are going to boycott any election in Biafra land. We are going to start from Anambra State on 18th of November 2017. There will be no election. The people of Biafra will boycott election in Anambra State on 18th of November 2017, because if Nigeria failed to fix a date for Biafra referendum, for us to vote and decide our future, for us to vote and decide our political will. So this is the issue. The world should now tell Nigerian government to fix a date for Biafra referendum. This is the truth of the matter. Thank you for being with us.
Biafra freedom, freedom is what we need now. Freedom, freedom is what we want now. Biafra freedom, freedom is what we need now. Freedom, freedom is what we want now. Calling the United Nations to set my people free. Calling the League of the Nations to set Biafra free. Lord no. Calling the African Union, talk about my freedom. I calling the four corners of this world to set Biafra free. Lord, for so long now.